Hey, welcome back to Cruising in Style with K and M, the show where we help couples and families get the most out of travel. I'm Mark, and along with my wife Kim, we're here every week with real tips, honest advice, and the kind of insider knowledge that only comes from people who actually love to cruise. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button right now and tap the bell so you never miss an episode. And if today's show helps you out, we'd love it if you'd give us a like and share it with a friend who loves to travel. It truly helps us grow. All right, let's get into it.
Welcome to the debate. Imagine paying $8,000 for a European vacation, only to find yourself just entirely physically exhausted. I mean, you're waiting in this massive industrialized terminal before you have even seen a single castle.
Oh yeah, that is definitely not the dream.
Right, but then conversely, imagine stepping off a small boat directly into the center of a historic village, which sounds great, but suddenly, you experience a medical emergency only to realize there isn't a single doctor on board to help you.
Wow, yeah, that is a truly terrifying prospect.
It really is. And when we think about how we plan our lives post-retirement, there is this fascinating shift in how we evaluate our physical environment. It directly mirrors the process of downsizing a home.
That's a perfect analogy, actually, because when retirees look at downsizing, there are generally two distinct philosophies, right?
Exactly.
Some people want to move into a sprawling, gated, master plan community. They want the expansive clubhouse, the multiple pools, the on-site theater, and critically, the dedicated medical staff, because they want the entire world to come to them. They want everything safely under one roof.
Right, the all-inclusive bubble. But then there are others who want the impeccably designed single-story townhouse right in the very center of a historic walkable city.
Mm-hmm.
They don't need the massive clubhouse because every museum, every cafe, and cultural site is just a short, flat stroll from their front door.
Mm-hmm.
And, both are completely valid architectural choices, but they yield entirely different daily realities.
Oh, absolutely.
So today, we are applying that exact architectural dilemma to the world of travel. Specifically, we're looking at the ongoing discussion among retirees and first-time older travelers, comparing river cruising versus ocean cruising.
And the demographics of cruising are absolutely shifting right now. I mean, recent industry data shows the average age of a river cruiser has actually dropped to around 55.
Wow. Really?
Yeah, down from 66 just a few years ago. But make no mistake, cruising remains the absolute staple for the older demographic. And simultaneously, we are seeing ocean cruise lines continually evolving their massive megaships to specifically cater to senior accessibility and, mobility concerns.
So, the central question we are exploring today is really about lifestyle alignment. Which cruising style offers the best fit, the most predictable budget management, and the most robust support for seniors who might be managing very real physical limitations?
Right, the practical side of it.
Exactly. And from my perspective, the slow, immersive pace, the intimate scale, and the fundamentally accessible nature of river cruising provides a far superior experience. I mean, it actively removes the friction from travel for someone whose stamina might not be what it was, say, 20 years ago.
Well, I come at it from a slightly different way. I look at the energetic variety, the extraordinarily robust medical infrastructure, and, frankly, the customizable economics of modern ocean cruising, and I see the definitive ideal choice for older travelers.
You see it as the master-planned community.
Exactly. The ocean megaship is that master-planned community. I think people deeply underestimate how much these massive vessels have been engineered from the keel up specifically for the aging traveler.
Okay, let's actually start right there with the physical realities of the ships themselves. Because to understand which of these lifestyles suits a retiree best, we really have to look at the engineering.
Let's do it.
So I view the small size of a river ship as an unparalleled advantage for seniors. When we talk about river ships, we are looking at vessels that are specifically constrained by their environment.
Right, they have to fit under bridges.
Exactly, centuries-old European bridges. And they have to navigate through incredibly narrow locks. So they are typically only 2 to 4 decks high, and they carry between 100 and 250 passengers maximum.
They are essentially long, flat barges with boutique hotel rooms stocked on top.
Precisely. And because of those strict engineering constraints, the internal layout is incredibly straightforward. Think about a senior utilizing a cane, a walker, or just dealing with the natural slowing down that comes with age. On a river ship, there are no confusing quarter-mile-long corridors. You do not get physically exhausted just trying to walk from your stateroom to the dining room for dinner. Everything is just mere steps from your cabin.
I can definitely see the appeal of that simplicity.
It's huge. Furthermore, the physics of the water itself is a massive feature. There is almost zero wave action on an inland river.
Right, no seasickness.
Exactly. The uncomfortable swaying, the rolling, the pitching that you get on the open ocean is entirely non-existent. For an older traveler with inner ear sensitivity or balance issues or a fear of seasickness, the river provides a totally stable, ground-like environment.
Look, I see why you think the simplicity is a benefit. And I will readily acknowledge the stability of river water. But let's look at what you are giving up for that simplicity.
Okay, what are we giving up?
If a river ship is a quiet, remote country inn, an ocean ship is a master-planned city with superior municipal services. Yes, an ocean ship is large. We are talking about vessels stretching over 1,000 feet long with up to 18 decks.
Which is massive.
It is, but the cruise lines have poured immense, staggering resources into senior accessibility exactly because of that size.
But doesn't the sheer volume of a 5,000-passenger ship inherently create a barrier? I mean, just getting to an elevator becomes a logistical hurdle for someone with mobility issues.
Not necessarily, because the infrastructure is scaled to match. We're talking about wide, clearly marked elevator banks everywhere.
Okay, sure.
We're talking about onboard mobility scooter and wheelchair rentals available the moment you step on the ship. You don't even have to bring your own.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize they had rentals right there.
Yeah, it's incredibly convenient. We're talking about thousands of specially designed staterooms with zero entry, roll-in showers, and strategically placed grab bars. But more importantly, the volume of humanity you mentioned, those 5,000 passengers, is exactly the economic engine that funds the ultimate safety net for retirees.
Which is?
Comprehensive medical care.
Wait, I want to pause there, because that's a massive point for our listeners. If I'm a 75-year-old traveler with a complex cardiac history, how comprehensive are these ocean medical facilities? Are we just talking about a nurse with some aspirin and motion sickness pills?
No, not at all. An ocean ship essentially functions as a level 3 trauma center.
Really?
Absolutely. If an older traveler has a cardiac event, a severe fall, or a sudden respiratory illness, these ships feature extraordinary medical facilities, usually located down on deck 2 or 3. They are staffed with full, dedicated medical teams.
Like actual doctors?
Credentialed emergency room doctors and nurses. They are equipped with advanced diagnostic equipment, X-ray machines, ventilators, and mini ICUs right there on board. It is a staggering level of medical security.
And I assume river ships, due to their size constraints, simply cannot match that.
They don't even try. Because of their small size, river ships do not have onboard doctors. Every square foot of a river ship must generate revenue, so there is no space to dedicate to a medical ward.
Ah, that makes sense.
Yeah, they rely entirely on shoreside assistance. If you suffer a severe medical event on a river cruise, the crew has to call a local ambulance to meet the ship at the next port or lock. You are then offloaded and sent to a foreign, potentially rural hospital where you likely do not speak the language.
Right.
So, for an aging traveler, the medical capability of an ocean ship isn't just a perk. It is a profound, life-saving comfort.
That is a highly compelling point regarding emergency preparedness. Though I would reframe the reality of the river experience a bit.
Okay, how so?
Because a river ship is never far from shore. I mean, you can literally see the riverbank on both sides at all times. Accessing shoreside medical care in highly developed countries like Germany, Austria, or France is actually incredibly swift and highly reliable.
Fair enough. Europe does have excellent healthcare.
Right, but let's look at how the physical mass of these ocean vessels, the exact mass required to house those medical bays and thousands of people, fundamentally changes the geographic reality of the trip. The size of the ship dictates destination access.
You mean the physical limitations of where a mega ship can actually sail?
Exactly. To go back to our real estate analogy, River cruising is like pulling your car right up and parking in the historic city square.
Mm-hmm.
Ocean cruising is like parking at a remote industrial airport and waiting for a shuttle bus. Because river ships have such a shallow draft and a flat profile, they navigate directly into the absolute heart of historic towns.
They really do park right in town.
They do. When you are sailing the Rhine, you step off the gangway and you are practically standing in the shadow of the Cologne Cathedral. In Budapest, you wake up, pull back your curtains, and you are looking directly at the Parliament building and the Chain Bridge. You just walk off the ship.
And the implication is that ocean ships cannot offer that immediacy.
They mathematically cannot. Ocean ships require incredibly deep water and massive industrialized ports to support their bulk. Because of this, reaching the actual destination is an entirely different physical reality.
You're talking about the tendering process?
Often, yes. They have to rely on tendering. For listeners who haven't experienced this, tendering means the ship's draft is too deep for the harbor, so it drops anchor a mile or two offshore.
Right.
Passengers then have to navigate steep metal stairs down the side of the hull to board a small, bobbing ferry boat, a tender, just to get to the shore. For an elderly passenger with a cane or a replaced knee, timing your step onto a moving boat while the ocean swells is a complete mobility nightmare.
Well, I won't deny that tendering is challenging, though many modern ports have built deepwater piers specifically to eliminate it.
But even when they dock at a pier, it is usually a massive commercial container port.
That's true in some cities.
You step off the ship, you walk through a concrete terminal, and you are forced to take an exhausting 45-minute bus ride through heavy traffic before you even catch a glimpse of the city center.
Yeah, it can be a commute.
Exactly. And for a senior with a finite, very real limit on their daily stamina, an ocean cruise forces you to burn half your energy just in transit. River cruising completely eliminates that friction. It preserves a senior's limited physical stamina for actual, meaningful cultural exploration.
Look, I understand the appeal of parking in the city center, but we really have to address a persistent, heavily marketed myth about river cruising.
A myth?
Yes. The industry sells this idea of a slow, relaxing, immersive pace. In reality, the daily schedule of a river cruise can be relentlessly physically demanding.
How so? The entire point is that you are moving slowly down a river.
The ship moves slowly, sure, but the itinerary is go, go, go. Because a river ship acts primarily as a hotel rather than a resort, the value of the trip is entirely located on the land.
Right, you're there for the towns.
Exactly. You are in a new port every single morning. The included walking tours frequently require you to meet in the lounge at 7:30 or 8 a.m.
That is early for vacation.
It is. And once you are off the ship, you are dealing with medieval European infrastructure. These cities weren't built with ADA compliance in mind. You are out walking on uneven, thousand-year-old cobblestones, navigating cities with no curb cuts, and hiking steep inclines up to castles for hours at a time.
But a passenger always has the option to skip the tour and stay on the ship if they are tired.
They do, but let's be honest about what happens when they make that choice. If a listener's stamina is low on a given day, or if their arthritis is flaring up and they decide they need a rest day, what does the river ship offer?
Well, they can relax in the lounge.
There is virtually nothing to do. Now contrast that with an ocean ship.
Okay.
On a mega ship, if your body forces you to slow down, the ship is the destination. You can stay on board, order room service, go to the adults-only solarium, get a hydrotherapy massage, catch a spectacular matinee show, and enjoy a rich, fulfilling resort experience.
That is a very fair point.
The ocean ship protects your vacation equity even when your physical body needs a break.
Right, that is a fair point about the onboard experience. But how a traveler consumes the destination, whether they do every 7 a.m. walking tour or decide to stay on board and rest, directly dictates the financial reality of the trip. Which brings us to a crucial consideration for retirees on fixed incomes: the economics of cruising and overall travel value.
This is where the philosophies really diverge, because the economic models are fundamentally opposed.
They really are, and I will acknowledge right out of the gate that river cruises carry a significantly higher upfront price tag.
Oh, absolutely.
We are typically talking about a range from $3,000 to sometimes $10,000 per person for a standard sailing. However, I argue that this economic structure provides profoundly superior peace of mind for retirees who are carefully managing fixed retirement budgets.
But peace of mind is expensive. I mean, why does it cost so much more up front?
Well, because river cruises operate on a heavily all-inclusive model. And the reason for this goes back to the engineering constraints we discussed earlier.
The lack of space?
Exactly. A river ship physically does not have the square footage to build 5 different specialty restaurants, a massive casino, or a sprawling retail promenade to extract more money from you once you are on board. Because they cannot rely on onboard spending, their profit margins must be baked into the upfront base fare.
Right. The economics dictate the inclusivity.
Exactly. But for the consumer, the benefit is massive. That upfront fare covers your daily shore excursions in every single port. It covers premium wine and beer poured freely with lunch and dinner. It covers your high-speed Wi-Fi, and often it even covers the crew gratuities. There is absolutely no surprise nickel and diming at the end of the trip.
That is nice.
When you are on a fixed income, knowing exactly what a 2-week European vacation will cost down to the penny before you even leave your driveway is an incredible psychological relief.
I understand the appeal of predictability, but I strongly challenge the inherent value of that all-inclusive model. In fact, I believe it contains a massive hidden financial penalty for seniors, particularly those with the mobility concerns we've been discussing.
A hidden penalty? How do you figure that?
Let's go back to the issue of stamina and the cobblestones. If an older traveler pays $8,000 for an all-inclusive river cruise, but they only have the physical energy or joint health to participate in half of those included 7:30 a.m. shore excursions,
Right.
they are heavily subsidizing activities they aren't even using. If they are on a heart medication that prevents them from drinking alcohol, they are still paying hundreds of dollars into a base fare that covers unlimited premium wine and beer for the other passengers.
So you view the ocean pricing model as more equitable for the individual traveler?
I view it as vastly more flexible and empowering. Ocean cruise economics rely on economies of scale and a captive audience. Because they have 5,000 people on board and dozens of venues to generate revenue, they can afford to drastically lower the barrier to entry.
They are definitely cheaper up front.
Significantly, ocean cruises often start at incredibly accessible price points, frequently well under $1,000 per person for the base fare. That structure offers incredible budget flexibility.
But, that base fare doesn't include the excursions, the drinks, or the specialty dining.
Exactly. And that is the entire point. Retirees can pick and choose exactly what they want to spend their money on.
Okay, I see.
If a traveler only has the stamina to take one accessible, mobility-friendly bus tour during the entire week, they only pay for that one tour. They aren't subsidizing the marathon walkers. If they don't drink, they don't buy the beverage package. It allows them to manage their lifestyle shifts and their physical limitations on their own financial terms, rather than paying a massive premium for an all-you-can-consume model that their bodies may no longer support.
I see the mathematical logic there, but we have to consider the psychological weight of that a la carte model.
The swiping of the card?
Yes. Swiping a cruise card for every bottle of water, every afternoon coffee, and every individual excursion can make a vacation feel like a constant series of financial transactions. It creates a low-level anxiety that actively detracts from the relaxation a senior is seeking.
That is a valid concern for some people.
Ocean lines just ignore.
Such as?
The single supplement. For our listeners who might not know, cruise pricing is historically based on double occupancy, 2 people in a room.
Right, the base fare is per person based on 2.
Exactly. If the solo traveler wants a cabin, ocean lines typically charge them a single supplement, which effectively means paying double the rate to make up for the onboard revenue the cruise line is losing by not having a second person in that room. It is highly punitive.
It really is steep.
But river cruise companies, like TOC, for example, are known to entirely waive single supplements for solo travelers on certain cabin categories. That is an absolute rarity on massive ocean liners, where a widow or widower often has to pay double just for the privilege of traveling alone.
Well, the single supplement is definitely a hurdle. I will concede that.
But for couples or those traveling with friends, I still believe today's seniors are incredibly savvy consumers.
True.
They appreciate paying only for the goods and services they actually consume. The massive upfront savings of an ocean cruise leaves thousands of dollars in a retiree's pocket. They can use that saved capital to upgrade their transatlantic flights to business class, ensuring they arrive rested, or simply keep those funds secure in their retirement accounts.
We have unpacked a tremendous amount of detail today, really connecting the physical realities of these ships to the actual lived experience of older travelers.
We definitely covered a lot of ground. Or water, I should say.
Right. So, to summarize my perspective, I firmly believe that river cruising offers a highly supportive, intimately scaled, and wonderfully worry-free travel lifestyle. By engineering ships that can dock directly in the historic centers of the world's great cities, it removes the physical barriers to cultural exploration, eliminating the bobbing tenders, the endless bus rides, and the sprawling, exhausting corridors. Furthermore, it provides a predictable, highly inclusive budget model that is tailored perfectly for seniors, seeking a sophisticated, immersive pace without the anxiety of a surprise bill at the end of the trip.
And from my perspective, ocean cruising remains the premier, definitive choice for older travelers who desire energetic variety and a true resort experience that accommodates their changing bodies.
Right.
The massive scale of these ships provides robust, potentially life-saving safety nets, most notably advanced, fully staffed medical facilities right down the hall. It offers the flexibility to completely customize your budget, allowing you to pay only for what your stamina allows, all while providing the opportunity to witness the grandest, most diverse geographies on Earth.
It seems incredibly clear that the choice ultimately depends on a fundamental philosophical question about what a traveler actually wants from their vessel.
Absolutely.
Does a retiree prioritize the ship purely as a comfortable, stable transportation method to deliver them directly into the heart of historic city centers, or do they prioritize the ship as a magnificent, self-contained destination in its own right, capable of protecting their vacation if their mobility falters?
That is exactly the right question to ask. And I strongly encourage our listeners to dig deeper into the source materials and itineraries we've discussed today. Take an honest look at your own daily stamina, evaluate your budget flexibility, and consider what kind of physical environment brings you the most comfort and joy at this stage in your life.
There is so much more to explore in this material, and neither approach is definitively the single right answer for every traveler.
Not at all.
It all comes back to that real estate decision we started with. When you look at the map of your retirement, ask yourself, do you want the sprawling estate with endless amenities and a built-in safety net, or the curated townhouse right in the center of the square?
Quick word from Adventures by K and M. If today's episode got you thinking about your next cruise, we'd love to help you plan it. Kim and I are full-service travel advisors specializing in luxury cruises for couples. We handle everything, the research, the booking, the details. So all you have to do is show up and enjoy. And here's the best part. Our planning services are completely free to you. We're paid by the cruise lines, not by you. So if you're ready to start dreaming, head to adventuresbycandem.info or grab the link in the description to book a free discovery call. We'd love to help you plan something unforgettable.